What if I told you that even one date could trigger a reaction in your body that you simply cannot undo? It sounds like medical science fiction, but the biological truth is far more intense than you've been led to believe. We are told dates are nature's candy, a harmless superfood for a quick energy boost. But the moment that sugar hits your tongue, a high-speed biochemical domino effect begins a reaction that, once triggered, your body must process to the very end. For some of you, this reaction is a harmless fuel source. For others, it is a silent warning sign of a metabolism that is struggling to keep up. Before we reveal the irreversible sequence and show you the one thing about dates that has absolutely nothing to do with calories, I have a mission. We are pushing toward 10,000 subscribers to prove that deep dive health science can beat the 5-second trends. Hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 1 second, but it keeps this research independent. And tell us in the comments, do you eat dates often, sometimes, or never? Let's look at the first domino. The irreversible biochemical domino. Why do we use a word as heavy as irreversible for a piece of fruit? Because in the world of endocrinology, there is a point of no return. Once that date hits your stomach acid and begins to liquefy, your body initiates a biochemical command sequence. Think of it like a text message sent to every cell in your body. Once you hit send by swallowing, you cannot unsend the instruction. Your pancreas must flood your system with insulin to protect your brain from a glucose spike. Your liver must pivot from fat burning to sugar processing. And your blood vessels must endure the osmotic pressure of rising sugar. This isn't a damage report, it's a system override. For the next 2 to 4 hours, your body's ability to burn its own stored fat is effectively locked behind a hormonal wall. You've triggered a one-way street for your metabolism, and understanding exactly how your body navigates that street is the difference between metabolic freedom and a lifelong struggle with your weight. The sugar bomb. The natural deception. Don't let the organic or sun-dried labels fool you. When you look at one single medjool date, you aren't looking at a fruit, you are looking at a concentrated glucose-fructose capsule. Because dates are dehydrated, they have lost their water, but kept every single milligram of sugar. This creates a sugar-to-fiber ratio that is dangerously close to a candy bar. One date can pack up to 16 grams of sugar. In a liquid state, that's enough to spike the blood glucose of a healthy adult by 20 or 30 points in under 15 minutes. This is a metabolic depth charge. Because it's natural, your body doesn't put up its usual defenses. It absorbs that fructose with terrifying efficiency, sending it straight to your liver for processing. This isn't just energy, it is a high-speed fuel that, if not burned immediately, has a direct, one-way ticket to being stored as visceral fat. To your cells, the difference between a date and a spoonful of white sugar is much smaller than you've been led to believe. The biochemical domino effect. The 60-second surge. Here is the irreversible sequence in high definition. Within 60 seconds of that date hitting your stomach acid, the structural integrity of the fruit collapses, releasing a concentrated wave of glucose and fructose. This isn't a slow leak, it's a systemic flood. Your small intestine identifies the surge and immediately dumps that sugar into your portal vein. This is the first domino. Your blood glucose levels don't just rise, they spike. This creates a state of microvascular stress. Because sugar is sticky at a molecular level, your body views this sudden spike as an emergency. It's a biological red alert. To protect your brain and your delicate arterial linings from the abrasive effects of high sugar, your pancreas is forced to initiate an emergency dump of insulin. This is the point of no return. Once that insulin is in your bloodstream, it stays there until its mission is complete. You've just signaled to every cell in your body to stop burning fat and start storing energy. For the next several hours, your body's natural fat-burning furnace is effectively extinguished. The insulin hijack, the hormonal gridlock. For someone with a perfectly tuned metabolism, this surge is a temporary wave. But for millions of you living in a state of metabolic silence, undiagnosed insulin resistance, this one date triggers a hormonal hijack. Instead of a precise dose of insulin, your body panics and overproduces. This leads to hormonal gridlock. Your insulin levels stay elevated for hours, even after the sugar from that single date is long gone. While your insulin is high, your body is biologically incapable of accessing its own fat stores for fuel. This is why you feel that afternoon slump or a sudden shaky hunger only 90 minutes after eating a healthy snack. It's not a lack of willpower, it's a biochemical trap. The date hijacked your hormones, forced your blood sugar to crash below baseline, and sent a starvation signal to your brain. You are now trapped in a cycle of craving more sugar just to bring your levels back to normal. This one date didn't just give you energy, it stole your metabolic flexibility for the rest of the afternoon. The repetition trap. The silent metabolic erosion. Now, one date won't break your health, but the daily pattern is where the real danger lies. If you are triggering this irreversible sequence 3, 4, or 5 times a day, you are living in a state of chronic insulin elevation. This is the repetition trap. Think of your insulin receptors like a doorbell. If someone rings it once, you hear it clearly. But if someone stands there and holds the button down for 10 hours a day, eventually you stop hearing the sound. You become metabolically deaf. This is the birth of insulin resistance. Every time you spike the system with a dense sugar hit like a date, your body has to work harder and harder to bring you back to baseline. Over months and years, this repeated signaling causes silent metabolic erosion. You aren't just getting older or losing your metabolism. You are wearing out the very machinery that processes energy. By the time you notice the stubborn belly fat or the morning fatigue, the repetition trap has already been closing for years. You've conditioned your body to stay in permanent storage mode, effectively locking your fat cells and throwing away the key. The red zone, the biochemical breaking point. There is a specific red zone where even a single date can push your system past its breaking point. If you are already struggling with metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, or fatty liver, that one healthy date is not a snack, it is a metabolic burden. We have to talk about the liver load. Because dates are high in fructose, they don't just stay in your blood, they head straight to your liver for processing. If your liver is already full, a condition affecting nearly 1 in 3 adults today, that extra surge of fructose is immediately converted into de novo lipogenesis. That is the medical term for creating new fat cells right inside your liver and around your internal organs. This is the visceral fat trigger. Furthermore, we must address the portion distortion. Dates are clinically hyperpalatable. Because they lack the water volume of a fresh apple, they bypass your stomach's stretch receptors. You can eat 5 or 6 dates, nearly 80 grams of sugar before your brain even registers that you've started. In the red zone, this isn't just a snack. It's a high-speed glucose injection that your body simply does not have the infrastructure to handle. For many, this is the hidden reason why their weight loss has stalled for months, despite eating healthy. The master protocol, the glucose buffer strategy. So does this mean you should never touch a date again? Absolutely not. But you must stop eating them like a snack and start eating them like a biological supplement. To disarm the insulin hijack, you need the glucose buffer protocol. Never, and I mean never, eat a date on an empty stomach. When you do that, there is no speed bump to stop that sugar from hitting your portal vein like a freight train. Instead, you must wrap that date in metabolic protection. By pairing a single date with a high-quality fat or protein like a raw walnut, a tablespoon of almond butter, or a bowl of full-fat Greek yogurt, you change the physics of your digestion. The fat and fiber act as a molecular filter, slowing down the gastric emptying process and turning that 60-second glucose surge into a slow, manageable 2-hour drip. This isn't just pairing food, it's vascular shielding. You get the potassium and the antioxidants without the red alert insulin dump. This is the master protocol for 100% nutrient absorption with zero metabolic fallout. If you use this strategy, you are no longer a victim of your cravings. You are the architect of your own energy. The final verdict. Yes, even one date triggers a real, measurable biological reaction. Your body recognizes it, responds to it, and initiates a hormonal sequence you can't undo. But that reaction is only a problem if you don't understand the rules of the game. Understanding how your body responds to sugar gives you the ultimate control over your energy and your future. The reaction is real, but your daily habits determine whether it becomes a benefit or a burden. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe and help us reach 10,000 subscribers so we can keep bringing you the science-backed truth. And tell us in the comments, did you know this about dates? Will you change how you eat them today? Knowledge is power, now use it.